Men that don't acknowledge women in a group. I don't know if this happens to other women. When I'm in a group of men and another man walks up to say hi, he will go around fist bumping every single man in the group and skip over me even if we make direct eye contact. They'll even fist bump dudes that they've never met before. For whatever reason, they always exclude the women from their greetings. It's rude as F, and I don't understand why men are like that. Edit, and before anyone can be like, well, did you introduce yourself or try to fist bump him? Why would I think to do that if he's literally going in a circle shaking hands / fist bumping everyone chronologically from left to right? Another edit, this isn't just about fist bumps or initiating physical contact with a woman. Y'all do realize you can just say hello, correct? What cheeses me right the hell off is when I'm in a mixed group with mostly men and I'll say something and they're suddenly deaf, then a guy will say the exact thing I just did and their hearing is miraculously restored and there's conversing galore. This happened to me all the time when my BF and I played Pokemon Go. We'd run into groups of guys playing and we'd chat about the game, but majority wouldn't even look me in the eye or acknowledge my existence. They'd even trade info with my BF while just pretending I wasn't there, I guess. Not that I wanted to make new friends, but still. Be a little less obvious about it, lol. I think I can shed some light on this. I'm a female boxer and most of the people in my boxing gym are dudes. Fist bumps are the common greeting if we see each other in the street or say hi in the gym. I think because it's very similar to a glove tap, touching gloves before you spar to show solidarity. For me, it always carries a bit of reassurance. It means we may be sparring at some point, but ultimately we are on the same team. Let's train together, hit each other and show each other how to be better. It carries a bit of fear, a bit of respect, and a lot of equality. It means a lot. So maybe men don't fist bump women because they simply don't have those feelings towards us? I get overlooked for fist bumps from random dudes too. For context, I'm a very girly girl outside of the gym. Weirdly, they are more willing when they realize I fight a lot. I think it's to do with acknowledging the other person as a potential threat and also a potential ally. Once I am seen as a threat / equal because of the boxing, I get a lot more fist bumps, head nods, and I get shown memes on phones and asked my opinion. It's so jarring. Always a certain type of guy as well. I would say insecure. Boxers have treated me as equal from day one though. Very progressive community. In fairness, I've caught myself doing the reverse of this. I'm a woman. I feel like I'll more naturally hug other women to say hello / goodbye, but with men I may hesitate and get a bit more awkward, just because the social norms for guys are a little bit different. It is rude to not even acknowledge someone with a look / hello, at the very least, but I think some men may act this way due to awkwardness rather than deliberate disrespect. For what it's worth, I've definitely experienced what you're describing. Could be the old bros before hoes mentality. Or, they could be trying to avoid some guy's jealous rage for talking to my woman. Neanderthal AF, but here we are. Read a study that in any mixed group men do 75% of the talking to the women's 25%.
Aware of this, I once caught myself starting to talk over a female colleague.
Trying to be more inclusive, I stopped myself and asked her to go ahead, mentioning the statistic above. She said, "Thanks for not mansplaining over me." I replied, "No, I was just talking over you. Mansplaining is when a man explains something to a woman that didn't really need explaining." Years ago, I had to point out to my husband that not only was he one of the people not including me in the conversation, but he was actively physically closing me out of the circle. He's a very big guy and I'm petite. I was literally behind him, craning to look over his shoulder at the other people I also wanted to talk to. And this was at church. He had absolutely no idea he was doing it. He literally had never been taught any social skills or courtesy. To his credit, as soon as I pointed it out, he never did it again and he began to look for opportunities to make PPL feel more included. I wonder what would happen if we women began to address this type of behavior head on. "Hi, my name is, what's yours again?" Or "Wow, significant other, are all your friends so rude they don't acknowledge women?" Or, "Guy's name, at the moment I'm speaking." Existing as a man in 2023 is a constant barrage of leave women alone in 12,000 different forms. I know that I can play and joke with almost any dude I meet and it's never a problem. I don't feel comfortable joking around any women, especially at work. The women I joke around are my family and close friends. That's it. Everyone else just gets what they get. I'll give you an alternative perspective from the male side if you're willing to listen and understand. I agree that completely cutting women off from a conversation isn't right because the person's feelings must be taken into account. However, it's partially because we are taking feelings into account that we do not engage in conversation with women as we do other men. There is a certain culture that surrounds male friend groups with a number of different rules to adhere to that represent boundaries and mutual respect. That is why some men do not speak to other people's girlfriends. Out of respect for your friend, because the action can easily come across as disrespectful to your friend and potentially their partner. Men do not want to be labeled as something they are not. I cannot stress how much it is ingrained into the culture it is to not be a creep. Especially now. A lot of men are extremely careful when talking to women, especially ones they don't know well, because they are afraid they may say the wrong thing even if they know they wouldn't. Many of us just don't risk it anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's because of the men that actually say/do inappropriate things and women that falsely accuse men, with the latter being a lot more common than you think. I'd like to add that men and women are psychologically different and are socialized in different ways. For that reason, the same conversation can be interpreted differently by a man and a woman. Not all our actions boil down to misogyny. We are people too, not one-track hive minds. I'm interested in hearing what you think of this. I hear you and I read this through, but it's those exact socialized behaviors and thought processes that are misogynistic. It doesn't have to be violent or extreme to be misogyny. Our society is inherently misogynistic since we live under patriarchy, so these things are programmed very young into both men and women. Psychologically, we all have the same needs. Sex does not change needs other than medically and socially. It's the gendered socialization that alter how we behave, express those needs and go after them. That being said, using a personal and general you, instead of acknowledging a human being, your mind aims to work around respecting men because you have that framework of mutual respect and boundaries in male friend groups that oozes into every interaction you have. That doesn't even exist when interacting with women because men are socialized to see us as partners, love interests, etc. instead of people to share community with, just as naturally as you do with men. As you mentioned, your foremost thought is don't be a creep and don't offend, but when we're talking about group acknowledgement and a simple hello, my name is X introduction, so that shouldn't be a factor at all. Saying hello or even glancing towards a woman, a whole human being, is in no way disrespectful to a man or crossing his boundaries. That's a patriarchal notion, and if a man feels disrespected by it, he too is adhering to the same patriarchal notion of that woman being his accessory. Disclaimer: if you see a woman being offended by a man saying hi to her even if she has a boyfriend, you guessed it. Patriarchy. Women can be defenders and perpetrators of it too. Not even trying to prevent all this is also an excuse to not acknowledge a human being who is standing there with a whole set of people who you've acknowledged. That's like me saying, well, men usually end up assaulting or hurting me, so I won't even try to say hi to so-and-so's friend who is a man. Women go through the absolute most with men and walk through life brushing it off. Not an excuse. This fake accusation stuff is incredibly minuscule, and another patriarchal women are trying to get us locked up and keep us down. Hullabaloo. In the end, whether men see it or not, they are literally trained from birth to see women as lesser. Women are trained to see women as lesser. It is the social system in which we live under. It's heavily embedded into capitalism as well. So while men may see their actions as respect and socially aware, women just see it as men are acting like I'm invisible and unimportant to this conversation, and, although interpreted differently as you said, I hate to break it to you, that's still misogyny, just neatly packed into social norms.